One day, an engine from the big city arrived on Sodor. He was to spend the night at the sheds and return home the next day. When he went for a rest, he soon found himself talking to Gordon. "When I was young," he said, "I remember going to the big city. Do you know the place? The station's called King's Cross." "King's Cross?" snorted the engine. "It's called Euston. Everyone knows that." "Rubbish," chimed in Duck. "It's Paddington. I know because I used to work there." The three engines argued all afternoon. They argued throughout the night, and they were still arguing even after the engine had gone home. "Silly thing," grumbled Gordon. "I've no patience." "Silly yourself," retorted Duck. "It's Paddington, do you hear?" "Stop arguing," James broke in. "You're making me tired. You both agreed about one thing anyway." "What's that?" "It's not called Euston," he chortled. "Now be quiet and do some work." "Pah." But Gordon was still complaining as he sped along the line. "I'm sure it's King's Cross," grumbled Gordon. "I'll go and prove it." But that was easier said than done. Gordon always stops at the end of the line, and then an engine from the other railway takes his train the rest of the way. "If I didn't stop," he thought, "I could go to the big city." Soon he was trying all sorts of tricks. One day he ran right through the station. Another time he tried to start before the fireman could uncouple the train. But it was no good. His driver stopped him every time. "Oh dear," he thought. "I'll never get there." A few days later, he brought his train as usual, and then waited alongside until it was time to go home. The coaches sat at the platform, but the engine for the express didn't come. The driver went to go see what the matter was, and he came back a few minutes later looking excited. The engine for the express derailed as it was coming out of the yard. "The Fat Controller wants us to take the train to the big city." Gordon was ecstatic. "We'll show them what the Fat Controller's engines can do." He was soon coupled back on. The guard blew his whistle, and they drew out of the station onto the open line. Gordon found that the big city was a long way away. "Never mind," he thought. "I like a good long run to stretch my wheels." A few days later, Gordon returned, and the Fat Controller greeted them warmly. "I trust you had a splendid time?" "Indeed we did, sir. We made the front page of the newspaper when we arrived. The crowds got so big, the police had to be called in," laughed the driver. Gordon had his photo taken from so many angles he didn't know where to look. "Good," smiled the Fat Controller. "I expect he enjoyed himself. Didn't you, Gordon?" "No, sir, I didn't," said Gordon glumly. "Oh, why ever not?" "The big city's all wrong, sir. They've changed it. It's not King's Cross anymore. It's St. Pancras.